My name is Gabe Erives. I'm the owner and operator of Agave Expeditions. 2024, I ran a touch over 20,000 miles here in Baja, running my overlanding natural history expeditions. And my workhorse is a 2011 Ford F250 Super Duty paired up with a 2024 Hawk four-wheel camper. And yeah, I'm gonna show you guys right now what makes this a very functional Baja rig. So this is my 2011 Ford F250 Super Duty. It's a very simple platform, and that's why I love it. It has the 6.2 V8 gasser. It's known now as one of the more reliable motors that Ford has put out, paired with a very reliable transmission. You know, I don't have a lot of fancy bells and whistles on here, and that's why I love this truck. You know, it has the ranch hand brush guard, came with the snow plow package as well, you know, so it can handle a little more weight on the front end. And yeah, you know, it handles the camper great. You know, it has disc brakes all around, high payload, it's gas, has a lot of low end torque, so you don't have a lot of that weight up front, so I'm not pushing through sand. One of the things that I love about this truck the most, it's the crew cab. So I have a pretty short wheelbase actually. To many of you out there, it may look like a pretty big truck, but I can squeeze into a lot of very tight places. The truck isn't that much longer than the modern Tacomas out there, you know, but it is a full-blown work truck, right? It's a 1-ton. I do have F250 leaf springs on the rear, despite it being an F250. The tight arroyos, you know, the roads running along the canyon edges, the mesquite bosques, you know, that we have to cut through, I can fit in anywhere that I need to get here in Baja. You know, this truck, it's stock suspension, right? So I have the Firestone airbags on the rear end, you know, just to help with the payload of the camper. But I don't want my truck up high. You know, I don't want to be riding on 37s with a 5-inch lift. I mean, that does nothing for me when I'm exploring the heart of the Sierra here in Baja, right? I mean, if you're just sticking to the coastline, that's great. But if you're really trying to cut deep into the mountains, which, you know, we have on this trip, and some of us have seen firsthand, you know, you can get really hung up on the mesquite and the other desert hardwoods, and they can cause damage to the camper. So I like to have, you know, I'm on 35s. I got plenty of ground clearance, but yet I still sit pretty low. So that's really what I love about this current setup. 2024, I ran a touch over 20,000 miles here in Baja without any problems. You know, I think there's something to be said about, you know, keeping your setup clean, functional, and simple. You don't have a lot of extra gadgets, extra components to go faulty, go wrong. You know, you don't have to do a lot of extra maintenance. Just, you know, keeping it simple, keeping it pretty low key. And yeah, that's pretty much me. You know, that's Agave style for you. So it's a complete beast. I refer to it a lot of times as a, you know, a tractor with a camper on it, basically. I've pulled out countless other rigs on my trips, no problem. You know, a couple times dragging folks up, you know, sand dune inclines. So yeah, I mean, it has everything that I need out of a truck, and I just, you know, I can't ask for anything more from this rig, honestly. We'll, you know, check out the inside and see kind of what my living quarters are. This is where I reset. Come on in and we'll show you around. So this is the inside of the 2024 Hawk front dinette. As you can see, simple, clean, functional, again, just like the truck. And yeah, you know, this is the place that allows me to reset. You know, on these trips that I run in Baja, I put my heart and soul and literally every ounce of my being into them. And that being said, yeah, they're completely exhausting physically and mentally. So this camper is my place to reset and to recharge when I have the chance. This is a place that allows me a refuge no matter where I'm at. And one of the best things about this camper, you know, personally speaking, the new thermal pack honestly works incredibly well. Last night we were up in the Sky Islands of southern Baja. It was almost below freezing. I was incredibly warm in here, and as well, it manages insulation super well. I've had, you know, previous campers with a, you know, the older thermal pack, and this really does mitigate the condensation. It's also just, you know, a cool creative place for me. I do a lot of reading and writing in here. You know, this is the customization in here, just like these two little bags that I hang for pens and, you know, my charging cables, stuff like that. Most importantly, you know, first aid, trauma kit, always got to have that accessible. I got the Lord of the Rings map of Middle Earth right here. Good place to, you know, rest my head. What else? You know, I got Mexican blankets. I love Mexican blankets. Just, you know, I got my sombrero right here. You know, I got some books. You know, this is, of course, like my mobile office. You know, it's also my adventure mobile, my home on wheels, but also it's my mobile library. I mean, here tucked in every corner, it's just loaded with books. I have probably almost 50 books here, specifically on Baja and the Southwest, Sonoran Desert as a whole. So yeah, this is a good one, California portraits. We actually visited several of the sites that are in this book on this trip. I got, you know, this book on the Vizcaíno Biosphere Reserve. We spent a lot of time on this region during this trip, so they give me a lot of inspiration. I do a lot of prepping and planning for the coming days on my expeditions here in the camper. Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, this is my crib, my pad, Casa Agave. I'm grateful to have been able to share this with you all back home. Bon voyage. If anyone out there is interested in exploring the physical and cultural landscapes of the Baja California Peninsula, you can find me on the road. You can pull up on me in my humble abode here. Call me, email me, carrier pigeon, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I'm here, you know, at everyone's service, and hopefully I can enlighten fellow curious travelers on, you know, the deep richness of this landscape here.